All right, I'm wearing black because this is a serious video that I'm probably going to be ranting. But I'm also wearing a black vest because I don't want to get hot in here, but it is cold outside. So I kind of ran out of ideas of what to wear. So this is what I'm wearing. Alrighty, hey guys, welcome to the channel. So today I've actually already recorded a rant video, which was a little bit more lighthearted. It was on Funimation and having to do all their dubbing from home, which you can imagine what my opinion was. Go check the link, if I remember to put it in there, for my reaction videos. That one should be in there. It's kind of a long one. It's about like 50 minutes because I got a lot to say. This one might be similar. Now, this is not a video, and though I was tempted to show you and tell you who this is, who wrote this, I am not going to. I was going to originally, but I decided against it. Because it's more the ideas and the concepts in this article rather than the person who wrote it. That's more what we're talking about. It's better to, if you're going to attack anything, attack concepts and ideas rather than people. I don't like to attack people. I don't like putting people on blast, even if they're dead wrong. If I do, I try to make it more comical rather than serious, but this one is going to be serious. Because this is the kind of stuff that I hear a lot of professional voice actors, and I use that in quotes on purpose, say, especially recently. And we're going to get into it. So, the article is 5 reasons why you should never become a voice actor. Not shouldn't be a voice actor or should not become a voice actor yet, or you're not ready to be a voice actor, should never be a voice actor. I guess the idea is that generations of voice actors should die off and there should be no more voice actors. I guess that's what the concept here is. But, and some of this is going to be covering the COVID thing. Kind of the COVID thing. Because there's been lots of people since COVID have thought of, well, since I'm not working from home, or I'm not getting that much work, or I got laid off, I'll start voiceover. And so this is kind of answering that. But it does it in the worst way. It does... It tries to address that in the most offensive and least educated way. Now, again, I will not be naming this person. It is a particular person's website, particular voice actor. I will not be naming them, and I will not be linking the website. But I will be having my digital assistant read it for us, just so it'll take less time. And then I'll be reacting to it as is. Okay, so let's just start off with the first paragraph.
It sure sounds tempting, doesn't it? Especially when you're young, idealistic, and impressionable. It's the way online voice casting sites throw out their net.
Actually,
especially now that many of us are jobless and
Shut up.
want to work from home during COVID. Want to work from home during COVID-19. Quote.
Oh, now you're gonna stop, dumb bitch. Okay, so first part of this article, which I should have started here, was a bunch of quotes, which are just kind of things that people have asked. So, I want to work from home during COVID. Yes, everyone wants to work from home during COVID. That one's not necessarily specific to voiceover, and not necessarily specific to what kind of voiceover, but, who doesn't want to work from home?
Millions of dollars paid out to voice actors globally.
Global, if you're putting all the voice actors together, yes, but again, there's a lot of voice actors and not that many make those kind of figures.
Audition for your dream job now.
I don't know what quote that is. I don't think that that's a quote from someone asking a question. I think that's just like some random post quote. I don't know if these are real quotes.
Instant access to amazing opportunities.
Nope. That one is not true. I don't even know where this comes from.
1 million registered users can't be wrong.
Registered users of what? Registered users of what? What kind of quotes are these? These are supposedly the quotes he's going to be debunking or tearing apart.
New job postings every day.
No, not do job posts, no auditions. All right, so now we're going to get to the first part of the article. So I just wanted you to know that. So that's basically the springboard that this particular person is launching from, talking about their why you should never go into voice acting.
It sure sounds tempting, doesn't it? Especially when you're young, idealistic, and impressionable. It's the way online voice casting sites throw out their net. Especially now that many of us are jobless and stuck inside thanks to a killer virus.
It's not a killer
Day after day, an ever-growing army of hopefuls is eagerly looking at their inbox, waiting for the next amazing opportunity to become a voiceover star. It comes at a price, though.
Okay, so the idea is, because we're all home and because there's a sickness going around, why don't I start working from home? Why don't I become a voice actor? I want to learn about this. I want to get into this. This is basically, I'm assuming that this article is written based on these people's statements or trains of thought. And I'm assuming that there's been a lot, and it bugged this person.
If you're taking part in these online cattle calls, be ready to be milked. Of course, these casting sites won't tell you that you have to spend between $349 and $399 per year to take part in a crapshoot. They'll feed you success stories about people who claim to make a six-figure income by winning audition after audition. Anecdotal evidence always trumps independently verified numbers, right? People believe what they want to believe when they're desperate and uninformed. So, today I'm not going to give you the golden formula to online voiceover success.
You ain't gonna give anybody any.
Sorry to break the news, but it does not exist. Instead, I will give you a few reasons why you probably should stay clear of this business. I'll start with the most important one.
Well, you probably shouldn't, but you start out with never. Clickbaity? Maybe? Okay. So, yes. This person is only talking about voices.com, voice123, and stuff like that. Those kinds of websites. Those are not the only places to get auditions. Those are not the only ways to get voiceover work. Absolutely not. Those are probably some of the more popular. Those are the ones that are the easiest to find in a Google search. True. And it's not a crapshoot. Crapshoot is chance. It's literally chance. There's no control over it. It would be more like, I guess it'd be more like poker. There's not really a good gambling analogy, but I guess it'd be more like poker because you do have control over these cards. Folding would be like not auditioning. And going all in would be when you're extremely confident. Now, again, there's still no guarantee that you'll get it. You have no idea what kind of cards the other players have, but that's a better analogy than a crapshoot. It sounds like this person is a little bitter. Sounds like this person has tried those websites, didn't really get anything, and now sees all of them as just, well, it's just chance because I couldn't get it. And that's what it's coming off as. I don't know exactly what was in this person's mind, but that's how it's coming off. There is no golden formula for success. That part is true. There is no, if you do this, you'll be at the top of the charts. There's none of that. Because every single bit of this, just like I said before, is about your skill and how well you can perform. It's not luck, and it's not a checklist. If you do the checklist, you still have to outperform other people. You still have to do killer auditions. You still have to have a great demo, great marketing. You still have to do all of that. That is hard work. There's no formula necessarily. There is a checklist that you can do, which is kind of stuff that you need to have a good mic, high quality place to record that's quiet. You need to have years of experience in acting and improv. You need, to understand what you're getting into. There's a lot more. It's not chance, and it's not step by step. It's something that's far more complicated than either one of those. All right. Here's where I start getting really pissed.
1. The world doesn't need you. Yes, you've heard me. We have enough people talking into microphones, thank you very much. What this world needs is less talk and more action. We need teachers, doctors, nurses, and scientists. We need experts in conflict resolution, people who know how to fight global warming and racism. We need first responders to pandemics, contact tracers, and census takers. If you really want to make a difference on this planet, don't hide behind soundproof walls selling stuff no one needs. Get out there and start helping the poor, the sick, the homeless, the marginalized, and the ones without a voice. They need you more than Disney does.
All right. Reading this pissed me the hell off. Made me incredibly mad because it really showed that whoever is writing this, and though I know, I'm not going to say, doesn't understand every aspect of voiceover. And it was also making wild generalizations. Now, this is also very narrowed down to COVID specifically. The idea that, people are wanting to do voiceover, and that's it, and they think that'll help, or that's their way of responding to COVID. Not necessarily. Most voice actors do a lot of other things. Nobody just does voice acting. The biggest names in voiceover, they're also directors, producers, writers. They do a lot more than just voice acting. I don't know anyone who could survive off just voice acting. Also, a lot of the others, they're also actors on camera as well. Some of them even do motion capture. Some of them, they're on studios. Some of them do demo production, music. No one just lives off voice acting. People wanting to go into voice acting is a way of helping to subsidize what was taken away from financially by the crisis. It's not a response to the crisis. It's a response to what's been now missing because of it, as a way of possibly adding to their income. Now, most people didn't lose their job. Most people just got downsized, or they lost hours, or there's a lot of people that did lose their job, but that's not everybody, and that's not everyone that's going into voice acting because of COVID. To answer, there are enough people behind the microphone. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I don't know what that means. I don't know what you're talking about. The idea that there are, 1,000 voice actors for every company is absurd. Is absolutely absurd. And that one company will only need one voice actor ever is crazy. Every company, and again, this sounds like it's coming from a naive, arrogant place, will need commercials at some point in time. And I'm going to tackle the rest of this, don't worry. They're going to need commercials at some point in time, and they're going to need people to record those commercials. And they can't afford the biggest names. They can't afford everybody. And I'm including independent, small, single, one-person companies, like very small companies, whether it's an app-making company or a startup company or an independent game creator or an independent cartoonist, whatever. There are people that need voiceover across the board of varying financial ranges. There is enough work for everybody. The problem is that everyone is looking for the largest gigs. They're all looking for the top shelf stuff, and they're looking at the top shelf and they're like, there's not enough for all of us. Well, if you look at all the other tiers available and you put everyone with their skill and that financial range and match them accordingly, there's enough work. Now, I'm not saying that everyone should stay in their bracket. I'm not saying that some people, you're always going to be worth this. No, as you start out, as you go on, you're going to be worth more and more and more because of your experience, because of your skills, because of your resume, because of how much a company can make off of you by your name being attached. As time goes on, you will become worth more. Every voice actor is like that. Not every voice actor in Funimation or every voice actor for Fox or Disney gets paid the same. Depending on their credits, depending on their skill and their resume and their name and how much it's worth, they get paid differently. So every single company, every single person, everything has its own bracket. And everyone can fit in a different bracket. They don't all have to fit in the top tier bracket. It's arrogant to only shoot for the top tier and go, well, I'm not going to work for this one because you just started voiceover. Where do you expect to start? Now, to get to the rest of this, which is a little bit more nuanced, we need teachers, doctors, nurses, and scientists, people who know how to fight global warming and racism. I don't know why this is here. I don't know why. So, I'm going to talk from experience, which, of course, this person made note of anecdotal evidence, individual person, rather than blah. I can say, personally, that I have made a difference with my voiceover. There is a particular company, there's a particular group that comes to me that does learning education for children, that does stuff for small children trying to learn English overseas and in the States. And I don't charge that much because it's for education. I don't charge that much. And they've shown me how much a difference my voice and my help has made, because I have a very friendly, encouraging, nice, unthreatening voice. That it's just guy next door, it's very friendly, it's very open, and I speak very clearly. And they say that it has absolutely helped. And they've sent me videos and they've sent me photos, and it made me cry. I didn't even know how much an impact that it was making. I didn't know how much of a difference I was making, but it made me feel better that it was making a difference. When it comes to global warming and racism, I don't know what jobs you're speaking of to fight racism. What occupations that you can do from home are you talking about during COVID to help fight racism? Name them. Name them. What jobs? What pays that you can, what job that you can get and then fight racism? There isn't one. If there was, yay, good, but there isn't. Fighting racism isn't a matter of they have all these applications that haven't been filled. They're like, oh, if we just filled all these applications, racism would be over. What are you talking about? That's nonsense. That's stupid. Fighting racism is an individual person thing. Everyone has to take individual action in their day-to-day life to fight that shit. That's what they have to do. It's not an occupation. It's not a job. It's not fill in the blank. It's not we're hiring. None of that. You can do that while being a voice actor. Once you have an audience, you can share your experience and you can be a good influence on other people. And you can do that whether you're a politician, an actor, a singer, an engineer, a scientist, a teacher. It doesn't have anything to do with the occupation. How vocal and how captivating are you? How much are people going to listen to you? That's what matters. As far as the rest of this, fighting global warming, I've done tons of projects, charity work, doing voiceover to help fight global warming. So, fuck you. You can do all of that doing voiceover. There's a couple apps, and there's a couple products. There was like an app for, I don't remember what it was, but it was something for like people that are getting together to clean parks or pick up trash or something like that. It was like just kind of like get together for cleaning up. And there was an app for that. And I did voiceover for that. I don't remember the company, and it's been a long time, but I did voiceover for that. And if I did a good job and it got people's attention, that means more people were going to get the app and more people were going to participate in it. And that is good for fighting global warming. There's been other things that I've done. There's other Kickstarter companies that are trying to do the same thing. And if you're a voice actor and you do a good job and you're motivated behind the microphone and you get people's attention for that company that's fighting that, that is your participation. That is your part of that fight. They have to get their product out. That's probably going to make a difference. And if they don't have good marketing for it, no one's going to know about them. And if no one knows about them, they can't fight the good fight. Moving on. By the way, there are 5 of these points. That was just 1.
2. There's no money in voiceovers. The cost of living goes up every year while voiceover rates are in steady decline. That makes sense, doesn't it?
No.
Even the union can't stop it. Thanks to online casting services and ignorant amateurs, your voice has become a commodity, sold by the lowest bidder to the cheapest client. Vo has become a game of averages, and here's how it works. The bottom feeders choose lowball sites like Upwork, Fiverr, and Freelancer.com to sell their services for beer money. The top end of the market consists of A-list actors making millions voicing cartoons and commercials. If you're average, you're forever stuck in the middle. Nope. You have enough integrity to leave the crumbs to the idiots, but you won't get the big gigs for the big money. Don't be fooled by voiceover veterans posting on Facebook how well they're doing. Some of them confided in me that they're just keeping up appearances. No one wants to hire a loser, so they've got to tell the world they're still an important player.
That's part of marketing.
Yay for social media. Everything people post is 100% true, right?
Bottom feeders. Okay, so I've talked about this before in other videos, in other vlogs, talking about why the rates are the way the rates are. So a lot of the larger companies, larger productions, charge more or pay more, rather, because of a lot of particular things. Like if it's SAG and it's in a studio and they have to hire the engineer and they're flying you in and they're having to feed you. There's insurance. There's a lot of extra things. There's also your agent getting a cut, your manager getting a cut. There's a lot of other factors. If you're independent, there's none of those factors. There's none of that in there. So when you look at what they pay out in total for a voice actor on SAG rates, and then you compare it to the independent average, yes, there's going to be a huge difference because this one has a lot more things that are going to be coming out of that lump sum pay. The independent person does all of that by themselves, and they work from home. They don't go to a studio. They don't have to pay gas. They don't have to pay for a hotel. They don't got to do any of that. They're doing it all from home. And so really, they're paying, or charging, rather, what they know they need to live off of. Yes, there are lots of people on Upwork and Fiverr and other kinds of freelance websites that are lowballing and that are trying to do stuff for $5 and that are really kind of screwing themselves and ruining the name and the credibility of these websites. Absolutely, totally agree. But I wouldn't say that they're all bottom feeders and scum and idiots. A lot of them are just new, naive, amateur. These are not insults. Bottom feeder, an idiot, is. Also, Fiverr started out as just $5. That's all you could charge. And people were finding ways of working around that. Fiverr now no longer is $5 only. Okay? There are people charging tens of thousands of dollars on Fiverr. There are people who do voiceover who get thousands of dollars per gig on Fiverr. About what they would get going through SAG or a large company. It really all comes down to, are they worth it? Do they know what they're worth? Can they deliver? There's a part of this that I do agree with, and that is the whole Facebook and people on Facebook building their hype. This is something that I have talked about many times. This is something that I, too, agree is agony. I don't like people pitching themselves as super professional when they're not. My thing is completely opposite. I hardly talk about myself at all. I don't go on the Facebook websites. I don't market myself on the Facebook website. I don't even tell people that I do coaching. I don't tell people that I do demo production. I don't feel comfortable doing any of that. I do know lots of people who do. And so I do kind of agree on that one. And I do agree that a lot of the people that post on Facebook and, really try to build their hype, a lot of them are posing. And that part is true. However, not all of it is. I've been on some voiceover websites with, big names attached to it, like Bob Bergen. He's on some of these Facebook voiceover websites. That blows my mind. He's a big voice actor who really deserves the hype he would build for himself because he's been in the industry for a long time. I would not say that he is posing or putting up a face or a front. So it really depends on who or what you're talking about. But I would kind of agree that a good chunk of social media, just like a good chunk of Hollywood, is bullshit. A good chunk of Hollywood and the professionals in Hollywood are bullshit. And they're bullshit artists, and they lie, and they're not as good or not as nice or not as friendly or not as approachable and not as talented as they might lead you to believe. But that's just people in general. That's just alpha personality. So It has nothing to do with the fact that it's online. It has nothing to do with the fact that it's online. It just has the fact that it's people. All right. Number 3.
3. You are a social being. Unless you enjoy going to expensive events to hear voice-ups talk about themselves and plug their books, you're pretty much on your own in this business.
Nope.
I mean, who likes being locked up between the 4 carpeted walls of a 3.5 by 3.5 recording booth all day long? You have no one to talk to but yourself, and you'll never see a response from the people you're supposedly entertaining. If acknowledgement is what you're secretly longing for, wait for the corona crisis to be over and go to a nursing home and read to the residents. Tell stories to kids in the cancer ward. It will make their day, and yours. The sedentary lifestyle of a typical voiceover is unhealthy for the mind, body, and soul. It's bad enough that you have to stay at home to stay safe these days. Let's assume you're an extrovert and you thrive in the company of others.
I don't.
I can tell you right now that you will curse the day you decided to lock yourself up in a walk-in closet.
Nope.
Just so you could narrate some third-rate novel for a royalty share that doesn't even pay this month's water bill.
Only if you suck. Okay. Where to begin? Every single one of these columns has so much to unpack. Okay. I wouldn't say it's unhealthy for the mind, body, and soul. For a lot of people, they spend a lot of time driving, being locked in their car. I would say that's worse for your mind, body, and soul, and your nerves, rather than being in a quiet space that you're actually making money in. Because you're not making money while you're driving unless you deliver, and then you're high stress all the time anyway, and being locked in traffic. I'd say that's worse. And a lot of people who make a good amount of money spend a lot of time driving. So, I mean, isn't that really all that different? Also, if you have a cubicle or a desk job, and even though there's people around you, you're not interacting with them all the time, not while you work. You're still isolated, blocked off with headphones and a microphone. It's not that weird. It's not that different. It's not like being in here is toxic for you. It can be. I'm sure there's tons of people who've been locked in one of these spaces that's gone insane. I'm not going to say that that's impossible, but the idea that this space is bad for you guaranteed is absolute bullshit. Now, let's tackle the whole go to a nursing home or a daycare or whatever and read to them. Why can't you read doing voiceover? Isn't that one of the things you do during voiceover? Why can't you do storybooks for kids, which I've done, so that they can watch on their iPad or watch at home or listen to or play or whatever? I've done tons of stuff like that. There's tons of cartoons for kids. In fact, there is a studio that I do a lot of educational cartoons for kids. It's Omen Studios, and I believe it's in South Korea. And I do a lot of characters for them. And I think the shows are Counting with Paula and Leo's Wildlife Adventure, something like that. I do a lot of stuff like that, and I do a lot of characters. And it's all educational. It's all for kids. And that is about the same as it would be reading. The only difference is that I'm going to be reaching a larger number of children than just sitting down with kids and a book one at a time. And I'm getting paid to do it. Now, again, getting paid shouldn't be your only motivation to doing something. I enjoy doing it, and I'm good at it. And I should be getting compensated on some level. Going to a nursing home and reading stuff, I've done stand-up comedy for nursing homes. I've done all kinds of stuff, charity work, this and that, in person. I make more of an impact doing voiceover. A couple reasons. You can play them over again. When it comes to children and it comes to the elderly, a lot of the time they have terrible memory, and if I go and read to them one time, I've only read to them one time. If they want to hear it again because it would still be fresh to them, I have to come back. And you can't do that during COVID. But if I record an audiobook, or if I record a cartoon for kids, or something like that, that can be played over and over and over again, it's going to make a bigger impact. It's going to have a bigger reach. It's going to be more enjoyable. This is probably the most angry I think I've ever been reading anything or talking about any article. There's not as much to unpack here because a lot of it's kind of the same stuff, but at the same time, it's really stupid. As far as like the going to the conventions and stuff like that, you wouldn't be able to do that during COVID, and it's hard to do that when it's not COVID. So I don't know what the point on that one was. But moving right along. Here we go. Now we're getting to money.
4. You'll spend at least 80% of your time trying to get work and 20% doing the work. Voiceovers spend a lot of time being busy without being productive. How rewarding is that? Regardless of what voice casting sites want you to believe, most jobs you audition for will go to someone else and you'll never know why. Don't you love it? But what about agents, you may ask? Once you have an agent or two, things will get better, right? No, they won't. The pickings are slim, and these days, all the agents in North America will send the same bathroom tissue script to every talent with a potty mouth. That really makes you feel part of an exclusive club, doesn't it?
What happened to you? Abuse? You're not loved? When was the last time someone hugged you? Okay, one correction right out of the first line. I would say it's more like 10% of actually doing the work and 90% of not, of trying to get the work. But I wouldn't say that's different than really any other job. If you work fast food, for example, the only time that you make money is, technically you're making money on your feet the whole time. But if you're thinking of the sense of the whole company and you're making money for the business, the money that they're going to then pay you is when money goes into your register. And that happens very rarely. It doesn't happen all that often. The rest of the time, you're spending your time cleaning, stocking, answering phones, running deliveries, taking food out, all this kind of stuff. There's a lot more that happens that isn't the financial transition, isn't a transaction at all. Most of it is the stuff that happens around it. That's going to happen with any job. Any job. Even if you're a telemarketer. How many times, speaking of telemarketer, oh my God, I'm going to decline. Actually got a telemarketer. Spam right there. Right as I said it. How did they know? What was I going to say? I'm going to take this off just in case it starts ringing again. And then I will put this in my pocket. Okay. Even if you're a telemarketer, you're really only getting paid for really, your goal is to get people to say yes or to buy the product or whatever. Most of the time, what you're doing is you're calling people and leaving messages and getting nothing or getting hung up on. That's going to be the majority of the time. Very little are you actually doing the productive work. So, having said that, doing voiceover isn't all that weird as far as the percentage of not work to work or trying to get the work to work. It's not that weird. The agent part is kind of right, the first half of it at least. The agent, just because you have an agent doesn't guarantee you work. You still have to get the work. You have an agent, which is another avenue for auditions. Agents don't get you work. Managers can get you work. Managers pitch you as an individual. Agents have casting calls. Companies go to them, go, hey, we have this script. These are the kind of characters we're looking for, the kind of roles we're looking to fill. Who do you have in your lineup that can fill these? Send these out to them. That's what they do. That's what agents do. That's what agencies do. A manager is more like someone who's like, hey, this is my guy. He's really cool. What do you got for us? What do you got? He can do this, 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 this. He pitches you individually. He can get you work. An agent can get you auditions. So there really is not really much of a disagreement there too much. The disagreement comes with the whole toilet paper potty mouth thing. I don't know what he's talking about. Or she. I don't know what they're talking about. I have no idea what kind of scripts they've been getting. I don't know why they're offended by language as their key thing, but you're of course going to be getting the same scripts that everyone else is getting. You're going to be getting scripts that other people are also auditioning for. There should be no misconception on that whatsoever. If they wanted just you, they wouldn't have you audition. They would just give you the role. If you're auditioning, there are other people also that they're looking at, or it's open casting call. These are not bad things, by the way. It's not bad that it's an open casting call. So just throw all that out. Garbage. Last line. Almost done. This feels like a marathon.
5. It may take many years before you see a return on your investment if you're lucky.
Yes.
A voiceover career cannot be bought. It has to be conquered.
Yes.
Slowly.
Mm-hmm.
You may think you're going to be successful because of your unique sound.
Nope.
Dream on. The only way you'll stand a chance is if you stop treating your pipe dream as a hobby. This means you've got to invest in professional gear and in a quiet place to record.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have to get yourself a few top-notch demos plus a website to tell the world what you're doing.
Uh-huh.
And this is just the beginning. Having all of that in place is no guarantee that you'll make any money with your voice.
Right.
Thousands of people all over the world are doing exactly what you do, and they are giving up within a year.
More.
The only money they'll ever see is when they're selling their stuff on eBay.
Nope.
At a loss. When you really think about it, you have to be an idiot to become a voiceover. I was foolish enough to choose that as my career, and guess what?
All right. I'm going to go ahead and listen to his last line. And guess what?
I've never been happier.
Whatever. Yes, it costs money. Nothing to add to that. That's normal. Just like any other job, it's going to cost some level of money. Anything you do is going to cost investment. Even if you're a plumber, you got to have the tools. Engineer, got to have the tools. Even if you're working at a desk job, you got to buy the clothes because they're going to have a dress code. You're going to have to buy stuff so that you can do the job, whatever it is that they're asking of you. If you're working in fast food, you got to pay for the health certificate or the food handler's card or whatever, as well as pay for the uniform and extra uniforms. Got to make sure that you're clean shaven, so you got to buy, razors all the time. You're going to have to invest on some level. Always. That's always that's always the case. Being an actor, you have to go to acting class. I recommend acting class and improv class, by the way, for actors. Absolutely. And that costs money. If you're going to be a doctor, lawyer, scientist, you got to go to college. That costs money. The hell is wrong with you? Money isn't... The fact that it costs money isn't saying that it sucks. That's not why. Of course you're going to have to spend money to get professional gear. You want to sound professional? You want to be professional? Know what you're working with. Build your studio. Show people you know what you're talking about and can deliver high-quality performance and high-quality audio. I mean, and of course you need a demo. Of course. And yes, good ones are going to cost money. That's standard. If you owned a private company and you needed commercials or marketing, whether it was radio or local television, whatever, you still have to pay money so that people know that you're there. Or put money so that you can put it into a magazine or the newspaper. Everybody has to spend something. This is not new. None of this. These are not reasons that you should never be a voice actor or should not be a voice actor, whatever. These are just things that just happen. These are just a part of it. These are a part of being voice actors. This is part of the struggle. Yes, there's lots of voice actors. Yes, there's lots of people that lowball. Yes, there's lots of people that are amateurs or don't know what they're doing or are technically hobbyists and not professional. Yes, there's lots of people that lie about their status or career. Yes, there's lots of voice actors that aren't actually making an impact. And what's your point? What's the point in any of this? I don't get it. It seems to be wild generalization and massive bickering on the level of, well, there's just not enough work for all of us. You're not going to get any work just because you have an agent. You're going to have to audition. You have to work hard. You have to spend money. Bleh. These cattle calls, they'll milk you dry. Yeah. You got to work hard at everything you do. You got to spend money at everything you do. It's not new. These are standard. So, if any of y'all have seen any of these kinds of articles or have talked to any other voice actors that have this kind of personality, watch this video. Maybe you'll feel a little bit better. Because it's going to be hard and you might not be ready for it. You might not be ready for voiceover. You might not. But if you really want to, and you really, really want, and you, not just you want to be famous. Oh, I want to be the next Seth MacFarlane. No, that is a terrible reason to get into voice acting. A lot of people look at the finished goal of voice acting rather than the steps to get there. I'll probably never be a Seth MacFarlane. I'll never be, well known in voiceover, but I make enough money. I enjoy what I do. I make a difference. If that's more what you're going for, don't let people like this tell you not to. Don't let people like this put you down. I mean, if you haven't even started, you haven't even tried, how do you even know how good you might be at it? And what's the reason? Let's say you got a little USB mic, you wanted to practice, you wanted to try. Keep it. You can use it for other things down the line. Who cares? Maybe you can come back to this later. Who knows? Or maybe you'll just use it for doing YouTube videos or just do it for Skype meetings or something like that. Who knows? Buying the gear to make all this at an affordable rate can be used for other things. It's not just voiceover, so you don't have to sell it, and that's not the only time that you'd see money. It's ludicrous. It's insane. So, anyway, that's going to be it. I'm starting to sweat because of how heated I am from this article. And I just wanted to go raw. And again, I will not be posting the article in the description. I will not be telling you who it was who wrote it, and I do not in any way am asking or telling or demanding or encouraging anyone to go and find them, leave a comment, anything like that. In fact, quite the opposite. I'm making a comment on y'all's behalf, for y'all. I'm not saying this so that we can go and do anything about it. Who cares? This is their opinion. They're entitled to their opinion, even if I think it's wrong. But because they're also entitled to their opinion, and to have their opinion, and for let their opinion be out there, I am also entitled to share my opinion on their opinion. And that is the only reason for this. Nothing else. There we go. So, if you guys liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Totally fine. Subscribe if you're new. Bell for notifications, and leave it down in the comment section below. Like to see me talk about any other videos or cover any other topics. Whatever. Yeah. And until next time, peace.